So I am Veronique Chable from INRAE, the National Institute of Agronomical Research and Environment. Very recently, we have E at the end.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and you had a very lovely presentation yesterday at the EUCARPIA conference. Can you maybe just give us an intro a bit, because you were mentioning a lot about historical overview concerning the plant breeding. So
Yes, for me to have in mind, this story is very important to understand the current situation. So the current situation is a consequence of a choice of what we are cultivating in the field. It was politically decided that we need homogeneous and standardizable input to manage agriculture as an industrial activity. It was the objective, mainly after the World War II, to industrialize what can be industrialized, and to have cheap food to develop industry. We need to standardize also all the process of the food industry. So to have a food processing, we need to have a raw, very homogeneous raw material. So all the plants should be uniform and moreover stable, because we have not to change the process every year. So we have this kind of variety, uniform and stable, which is quite the opposite of what we need for organic agriculture. Organic agriculture needs to take care of all the situation, all the environment, all the culture of the planet. So nothing is uniform. And life is based on diversity to be adaptable, to be resilient. So we need diversified crop for diversified landscape, for diversified food, and mainly for health people, because we have a very close correlation between the decrease of the health situation in the field and in the population. And we have several new diseases that we didn't know before, because we have a new food that don't correspond to our physiology
and nutritional needs at the end of the day. Yes, you were mentioning that in 1908, the first F1 hybrid appeared, right?
Yes.
And do you think that over this course of time, we could see the real effect of introducing hybrids?
Yes, the effect was the apparition of diseases, new diseases in the field, the multiplication of disease. At the beginning, when I was speaking about participatory plant breeding, I took an example. It was the example of sunflower in France. We have not a large production of sunflower, but it was based on population. Pédérovic ou nain noir. These populations were diversified. And as soon as we introduce the first hybrid in the field, we have the first race of rhody mildew in the field. They try to introduce gene resistance in this first hybrid, and we have two new races of this disease. Mm-hmm. And they try to introduce a new gene of resistance, and they got 5 races. So the introduction
compete with that.
Yes, and for lettuce, is it the same? As soon as the plant is more uniform, with gene resistance, we have more and more diseases. So, but in our situation, disease is interesting for the companies who are selling seed, because most of them are selling also the pesticide. So they are selling the seed, the pesticide, and all is benefit. Mm-hmm. Not for us.
And you have been mentioning less genetic, more holistic.
Yes.
So what would be the approach that you have in mind?
Because if we are working for diversified situation, there is not only the yield, which is interesting. When we are working on pure line F1 hybrid, it's the indicator of the success of plant breeding. It is the yield we can obtain in station. And here we need to obtain something that is good for food, for citizens. So we need also to consider the link to the soil. So to look at microbiology, the life soil, we need to have plants that fulfill the food quality. So we need to control the food quality and to also the interest for the farmer, how this crop can be cultivated in the field of the farmer. So we need to take care of the agronomical practices. Perhaps we can imagine new practices like we visited yesterday. So the plant could not be the same. So we have to multiply the kind of crops. But to multiply the knowledge, we need to manage these plants. And the land races, the heirloom are always associated with knowledge, with cultural knowledge of the people who have bred these plants. So we have, with the uniformity of the plant, the crop, we have also forgotten the knowledge of the diversity. So we have also to recover very diversified knowledge. And this kind of knowledge also empower people, citizens. It's a completely different way of life. So now we need researchers who think for the marketing activities, financial activities that could be compatible with diversity. So there is a challenge for young researchers.
So that's maybe an interesting topic for young researchers, as you indicate, and some new research. Okay, maybe just the last question. If you could do one thing or one recommendation for applying this holistic approach, what would it be? What concrete action would you take? If you have all the authorities that are needed.
I think we should consider more the territories, the people who are living in the territories. So to do together. The scientists alone can do nothing. Alone, it will be difficult now to change the things. So working together, not only holistic, but all together.
Okay, so we could say the knowledge is the power, but the practical knowledge is the key to success.
Yes. And the collaboration and solidarity, complementarity. Behind diversity, there is complementarity. We have to look at the natural ecosystem. All plants are in one place to be complementary to the others and so on.